Today is February 20th at 1 p.m. and this is a meeting of the Auburn Housing Authority Board. And I guess we have, we're being recorded live by Auburn Community TV. We have one person in attendance,
Frank?
Frank, and nobody else is recording. And I guess we can kick it off with the pledges.
There was the declaration pledge. Thank you.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. With a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor.
So next up is public comments. Did you have anything you wanted to add?
I don't.
You don't? Okay. Minutes for January 24th. I guess everybody has seen those. Any discussions? I guess they're good.
Can I had a question. I don't know if this is time to do it for the, I think it would have been the minutes of January 24th. On the 4th, I believe it was. On this one here too, we had a discussion to approve Ginger as the grievance person, and we voted on it, and she is the grievance person. And we approved her for the acting town clerk. Who is that for? Is that for the tenants?
Yes,
So if the tenants have a grievance, they can call
No.
Ginger?
if the tenants have a grievance, there's a form that they need to fill out that we have, there's a procedure.
Right.
There's a form that they need to fill out, and then then the form goes to Ginger if we can't work it out. Usually
see.
the attorney comes and meets with the resident, discusses any concerns, so that if we can come to an agreement prior to Ginger, then we do that, and if we cannot resolve the problem, then we turn around and just goes to Ginger.
Okay.
Ginger's
All
at
right.
the
I just didn't know
Yeah.
the tenants were where, okay. So it's the same procedure, they still have to come here first, then Ginger, no? Okay.
Okay, do they all know? All the
It's in the policy, the
It's in
policies
the
that
policies that we,
every year you sign
Yeah.
for, there you go,
Okay.
it's in there.
okay.
But you'd first have to get a decision that you didn't like before you
Right.
need to appeal anything. Which
Yeah, we need to know about it
presumably
You
first,
need to know,
it
so
would
that
be
we can
fine
fix
now
it.
when you-
right?
about when those come up. Okay, for those, do we have to vote to approve those, or do we just?
The
accept
minutes?
them?
Yes.
Yes,
Make a motion to approve the minutes of January 2024.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Except for the word.
yeah.
Check registers for 2020, or January.
Thank you for all the notes.
Did it help?
It does help, yep, absolutely. Who is Thibodeau, Roy Thibodeau?
Painter.
He's a painter.
See, I wasn't sure how far to go, but any
Yeah,
big
no.
expenses were the ones I tried
It was
to.
just a name I hadn't seen before, so
Yeah.
that's why I
He's the painter.
asked. And then what is WEX Bank? WEX Bank?
Wex Bank is Shell. Gas.
So you have a gas card?
Yes, we have a Shell gas card, and it's through Wex Bank.
Okay.
And sometimes we have to go through, sometimes it's A-gas and sometimes it's Shell, because Shell has diesel and A-gas doesn't.
Okay. Thank you.
But it did help with the,
Yep, definitely.
Any other questions on the registers? I guess we need a motion to accept.
Motion to approve the January check register.
And second motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, next up is year-end financials.
Is that the quarterly operating statement?
yeah, because the other one is the monthly.
All right, so
Did
it's
you get
these, this,
Yeah.
There's two. Then two of you.
There's two because there's two different programs. So if you look at, one says 400-1, and that's the state program. Do you have, did you get these?
I have 689, 400-1, and 705.
Yep.
Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. And 400-1 is which one?
That's the state program, like Packagug Village
Okay.
and the other one is Auburn Heights,
667 or 689?
689 is Auburn Heights. 400-1 is the whole state program, and then it gets broken down between the 667, 705, which is family, and then the 689, which is our 8 units of congregate housing for disabled people.
Okay. So when you're allocating maintenance, these guys are filling out, run me through the process. These guys are filling out sheets on what unit they worked on, and then that gets appropriated according to this 667, 689, 401, whatever.
Their time is all,
All allocated based on, okay. Thank you. And so are like utilities and things like that, are those all billed separately to the particular, yeah, okay.
because if you look at in the check registers, I put on there, over there.
Well, again, these check registers are, what you see is a prorate HUD, you're not seeing account numbers that correlate to where it's being charged. In some instances you are, there's a 689 one for the HVAC. But for the most part, it's just a, HUD prorate split, whatever.
See, I have to charge it in order for Gary to put it in the right spot. So when I process the checks, like you look at the revolving one, it'll tend to say, like this Arbella insurance, right? That's the auto insurance, because we just bought a new truck. So we had to pay an additional amount for that. So that's where the 716 came in. But if you look, it says prorate because it's going to be at a prorated amount between the federal and the state program. But anything that says like, that's not a split, like this says.
Right, it's straight up 667, right.
That's
Right.
that's Packagug Village in the front. HUD PV is Packagug Village in the back. So all the different programs are charged to a different, they don't get lumped. They
Right.
get divided up
Right.
amongst the programs.
Right.
And it's based by units. So like it's not, like this state and the federal is not 50/50. It's-
Right, it's based
It's-
upon the number of units.
Right.
Okay.
And we have more federal than we have state. But if the budgets are two separate budgets, they're two separate bank accounts, and the only time the money gets combined is when it's in the revolving, when I pay the bills. But until then, they're completely separate. So the state funds they only pay for state
Right.
bills, federal only pays
for
for
federal.
federal bills
But it's all coming out of the revolving account.
to pay the bills. But I just have to let him know what the bill was.
Right. The question about, can I see this for 1 second? So I don't have a hard copy. If you were to change your, I guess it's not gonna help. Your split, you could conceivably code it differently. If you code the categories differently, and that would make a different split. So it would print differently.
So that you can see it.
It's a hack,
Yeah. So you could see it.
yeah. But I don't think it's gonna help because it just says split, which isn't really.
Right. It's not helpful. Nope. I mean, on the consolidated with the, rent transactions, that's pretty cut and dried. It shows 667 or 705 or
Yep.
with the other ones, you don't get the detail that gives you an idea of,
So the split
Yeah, so
thing
there's a
is
split.
problem?
well, again, I've been, kind of making it known I don't like the way that the, memos happen from the get-go because it's not easy to follow.
And I think that's the software program
Right.
that we're using.
But
I'll have to-
actually, a lot of programs, if you've got a split transaction, don't display it very well.
Well, yeah, but if you've got the opportunity to select the fields that you want to show, then it will give you the detail that you want. But if it's just,
Different report,
right,
that would probably.
Right.
That would probably be the way to do it.
Yep.
maybe. Just have a breakout by category.
yep. Because essentially it's a database and what you're doing is you're telling it what you want to see.
Whereas this report doesn't, this report is what you need. Because you want
Right,
a check register, you're going with the checkbook.
yeah,
But if you're trying to oversee it, then you might want to see it just by category. And then by category, but that's kind of what this is gonna give us anyway, the treasurer's report. And, it'll show up here if there's a big number that seems out of whack,
yeah.
in any case. Did you want to add anything?
Nope. So the year-end financials, that's the one, the quarterly operating statements, is that the only paperwork? Because like I said, there was some items I didn't print because of all the big black blocks. That's the balance sheet. Tenants accounts receivable. That's that one, okay. I'm curious, what is the investments, unrestricted investments, the 15,230.78? I'm not familiar with that.
I'll have to ask him.
Okay. So you don't know what that is right off the top of your head?
No.
Okay.
I could guess, but I don't think I'm gonna.
Oh, please.
Yeah, I could too, but
You-
I'd rather hear the clear answer, yeah. Yeah. All right, so the Gatsby liabilities must be funding the retirement. I think that's all I have on the year-end financials.
Oh, this has a lot of plaque.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Instead of just leaving them blank, if there's nothing there, it would make it a lot less daunting for the printer than using up the ink for no good reason.
There's a lot of plaque.
Yeah, look at, it just goes on, that's why I didn't bother to print
See, when you're
it.
not paying for the ink, it's not like a big concern. But when you're paying to print it, I could, he likes this black.
We want to be in the black, but we don't have to be in this much black.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't want to be in the red, but yeah, that's a lot of black blocks for no good reason. If they're blank, they're blank. The grids, help you to see the numbers, so it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But anyway,
I
you'll have a little chat with them. I hope.
no, like lay off the black.
Yeah.
And what was the one you asked me about that I didn't know the answer? The investment?
The investments, what is that?
Restricted.
Yeah, unrestricted investments. It's 15,230.78.
15,000 to 30.
15,230.78.
Okay. Some guy told me I look old
That was
In
nice.
person,
That was
younger.
nice of them.
and younger on TV. Can you imagine that?
When you take a deposit, is there first in security or just first? That's it, just first?
The only deposit that we take is for
Pets.
pets.
Okay,
And the pet deposits are completely separate from all our other banking. They're at Savers Bank,
yep,
so they're completely separate.
okay.
They get that when they move out.
Or if the pet passes away, we refund them the money.
Anything else?
No, I'm good.
So I guess we need a motion to accept.
I make a motion to accept the year-end. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Next is year-end financials?
That's what you had.
That's
The
what we
tenant
just did.
accounts
That's what you
receivable.
just had.
Okay. All right, and now we have tenants accounts receivable.
And that was in that same packet too. It was all kind of lumped in together. In our tenants accounts receivable, people that owe us money,
Yep,
we're going into repayment agreements with them so that everybody that owes us has an outstanding balance. We're getting them to sign repayment agreements so that at least when we turn it into the powers that be, they'll see that we are making an effort, whether it be a notice to quit or they're going to pay us with their tax refunds. But we're going into agreements with everybody now because COVID, as far as that part and not paying, is over. Now, if they owe us money, they're obligated to pay us the money, or we're gonna push to evict. We won't get them on the first time, but eventually.
Right.
So what does the $1,340 represent? Then you said written off this quarter, written off fiscal year to date. So that's all you lost on 667 and
In
705 and the, 667
That was our bad debt. that
in
we voted-
2023?
Yep, that we voted to write off because they had either passed away or they went into a nursing home. And once the nursing home gets a hold of their check, they have no money to even pay us back. But the
Okay.
majority of, if it was the death of the tenant, and we approached the family to see if they would clean up their parents' debt, and we didn't have very good luck with that.
Okay,
So if we have no way to recover the money, we have to write it off.
right. And that's not bad really for a whole year, for $1,340, considering the number of units. Now, 181 to 274 days, you have almost $2,000. That's what you're talking about entering into the agreements with people?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And we really had to wait till after the whole COVID because a judge wouldn't even entertain it during that
Right.
timeframe.
Right.
And especially now that people are working and making pretty good money, they should be paying us. You would think, yeah. That's the goal. But we're working hard to get this accounts receivable. And like, this is all over the country. They had sent out this thing that it's like, nobody's paying.
Well, the cost of living is not keeping up.
It's not-
Well,
Yeah, the
it's
cost of
not.
living is
And
not
they don't have
keeping
the
up with
money.
inflation, absolutely. I mean,
But we still have to make
anybody
it
goes to the
happen.
supermarket today realizes,
I know.
You know, when the rich get rich and the poor get poor.
that's right. Yeah, no kidding. It's awful.
I don't know how they afford it. I really don't.
They don't unless they got a grandmother like me.
Well, and this is the thing, family has to help.
Yep,
Yes,
no other way around it.
Exactly.
Some of them can't.
No,
Right.
I know.
So on the units, number of units and then units occupied, you've got one empty unit right now. How long has that been empty?
All right, where is it? What program is it?
667? State.
667, as of right now, see, that's prior to his, I just housed somebody this morning.
So you're full up.
Right.
Okay.
The front of Packagug is completely rented now, and we had lost a minority, and we gained the minority back. So our affirmative action goals, as of right now, have been met.
That's good.
So that one thing that's good. But that apartment got leased. Now, we're gonna have 2 federal apartments at the end of this month are gonna be vacant. One in the back of Packagug and one over here at Stoneville. And one is because they're moving in with family, and the other one went into assisted living nursing home situation. They just couldn't.
Now, how does that work? There are already individuals in the units that some of them may be looking to move. Do they get first option?
If somebody's on a second floor and needs a first floor, they need to get a doctor's note stating they need a first floor, and then they're eligible to transfer to the first floor.
Yeah. Under what other circumstances? Or do they get first option?
If they're not moving for a reason, they're not moving. They're not moving because they don't like their apartment. They're moving because they can't manage their apartment. Because otherwise, we'd be moving people all the time, and you need to have a reason.
All right, so if you're not moving for a reason, you are not moving.
Right.
Okay. And so the only good reason is because you get a doctor's note.
Right, and it's generally that I can't bring my groceries up to the second floor. I can't, I'm afraid I'm gonna fall down the stairs, or if they have fallen in their apartment, then they're obviously a fall risk, and we don't want them doing the
Right,
stairs.
absolutely, no, but there's no other reason other than that.
That's pretty much what I see.
Okay, all right. Just want to be clear. All right, so if not moving for a medical reason, then they're not moving. So that's a cumulative total then.
We're doing pretty well on our vacancies.
Well, that's good because people all over the place need housing. We need to be building more housing. Is this right?
What?
91 to 180 days? Overdue? There's $16,000 on the 705 program. That's overdue by 180 days.
He's pulling that off the software program, but we're bringing these residents in because it's an inflated amount in the system because they didn't give us a notification that they lost their job, or they didn't give us a notification that their rent, the amount of money that they were getting has changed. So the system still carries it on as if they were still there, when in fact, I mean, we have some that owe 6,000, 7,000, and some of it's legitimate. They just didn't pay
Yeah.
because they felt, according to Governor Como, they didn't have to pay. Not realizing that he was in New York and we're in Massachusetts. So that's actually an inflated amount, but by going back and meeting with these residents and just saying, oh, by the way, is this an actual amount that you owe? Because I can't fix anything in the system until they provide me with proof, like a letter from their employer that they lost their job. Or if they didn't, any ups and downs has to be backed up with paper. So I can't change it in the system until they actually provide the documentation. So in the meantime, the clock is still
Rolling.
rolling.
So
So
you
that'll
require a
change.
letter from a person's employer if they were let go?
Yeah, because how else would I know they're not working? Or if they start collecting unemployment, they have to bring it in.
And there's no way to verify that through the state with all the access you have to state?
Everything is at least a quarter behind. Like we have a wage match for state,
Yeah,
quarter behind. So it's not even current. And the same thing with the HUD program, which is employment income, income verification. It's not current. It's always behind.
well, I can see a month or two, but you said some of these go back 6, 7 months.
So as we go through and clean up these tenants, we'll see a difference on that.
Yeah,
And it should go down, especially since a good number of them are going to pay us with their tax returns. The ones that, I mean, they get a good amount back, and they can clean up a lot of what they owe with the tax return. Because they've signed an agreement,
Okay.
and if they don't do it, and they agreed to it, then a judge doesn't like that. unless there's a legitimate reason as to why, and then they can,
So they don't direct the refund directly to us.
no.
They still get it and then write a check.
So are we going to see these tenants' account receivable now monthly, or is this a quarterly thing, or
That's a quarterly thing.
quarterly? So we'll see that every quarter,
You'll see it every
and
quarter.
hopefully there'll be a change in that number going forward, going down.
We're working on it.
Okay.
How many people do you have left to certify for rent?
For the elderly disabled at Packagug, 1. And I started doing the families, because the elderly changes at PV on March 1st, and the families, their rent changes on April 1st. And then Stoneville's rent in Pine Brook Court, the federal program, changes August 1st. So they're spaced out. So now I'm doing the family, they're coming in. They're bringing the stuff in, and I'm just doing them. And they'll come in and sign, and they pay April 1st, the new rent.
Okay. Anything else on that? All right, next item is.
We're gonna make a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I
Sorry.
make a motion to accept the tenants' accounts receivable.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now, on that, this next thing, the compensation. Okay, the one that he sent me, you couldn't really read. Because it was all blacked out.
You mean
So-
this one here? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Just saying, that's the one.
Black and gray now.
So they take the highest paid, 5 highest paid, and we have to report it, and you have to certify that you saw it. And then we have to submit it.
Right.
So we're saying that we saw it, but when you look at, for instance, the maintenance mechanic painter, the budget amount was 69,024, but his total compensation was 81,858.
Okay, his was higher because of the healthcare insurance amount that he got, that was owed to him. And plus, when you add in the overtime, we never really know.
I understand that. My question is, when you look at the percentage change from budget composite amount, it says 0%. That's not a 0% change. That's an increase. And this same can be said for all of these. This one's showing 1%, that one's showing negative 1%, even though it was slightly higher than the total budgeted amount. Although the executive director one is correct, 0.1% minus. But the other ones aren't showing the percentages from the budget composite amount. Does that calculate automatically on this spreadsheet that
I
you're?
think it does, but I don't.
But I mean, 81,858 total compensation versus 69,024 is a pretty significant, increase, but showing 0%. That doesn't make any sense to me at all. I mean, some of them should be negative, other ones should be positive. Who completed this form? Gary.
Yep. And he went off the payroll records. From
Right, but
Harper's.
why isn't that calculating?
It's not calculating the overtime and other compensation.
Then, why have total compensation versus composite amount if you're not gonna show what the percentage is? And, yeah, I mean, realistically, that helps you to take a look at your budget for next year and say, okay, well, there was a little more overtime and maybe we need to bump up that budget figure for the next year. I mean, some of these are $7,000, $8,000, $12,000. That's a significant increase, and why, I don't get that.
And that was because of that healthcare incentive. That was money that was owed to them, that was paid to them out of this budget. But I don't know
Maybe
why.
there's something in the background we're not seeing, but
Yeah, because most of it's all in other compensation. It's not actually in overtime.
And the biggest one they look at is mine, to make sure that it matches what I should be getting is what I am getting.
yeah, LHA's fiscal year end represents the actual compensation received for the entire year, not the budgeted amount. Please consult the IRS. Executive must receive longevity payments percentage. The percentage change calculates the variance, if any, between budgeted and actual salary, which is comprised of base other management contract. That's where it is. The percentage change calculates the variance, if any, between budgeted and actual salary, which is comprised of base salary and management services. So that's why it didn't include that. Because it was under other compensation. It's in the footnote at the end. Okay. And because yours, it was the only one that was, the salary. That's why it shows the same thing for the occupancy specialist.
That's Albany's position.
Right. All right, well, the footnote answered the question.
Okay, so you need to,
You have to sign off on it.
yeah, you have to sign off on this. And that covers the year-end financial statements and the tenant accounts receivable data. And you gotta certify, and then you gotta sign. But you have to vote to do it first.
Okay. So I need a motion.
I make a motion.
I'll second motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so you wanna, as the chairperson, you're gonna sign here, and then everybody else.
We're going to certify both.
Yep. And then Roberta will have to sign it too. So is there anything I should ask him to change on this
I
form?
guess
No, the footnote
Just
Cleared it up?
cleared it up. Yep. Yep. And I mean, he's doing that through the state portal, so he's not gonna be able to make any changes to that.
Yep. Because this is what they're requiring for us, and they have to be turned in by the 28th.
So you put an X here? Or does she need to put an X there too?
Mhm.
yes, under both.
Or you could just put it there for you, Rosa.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so next up is lead paint lots.
Oh, yeah. The lead, the lead paint. Did you get this?
I did. I didn't print it because it said they were all compliant. Every
Because
bit
they
of
have
it's
to be.
compliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, I would hope so, especially in the family units. You got kids.
Yeah.
Elderly people will be gnawing on windowsills, but you never know, right?
But this is part of their, the state software. You have to go in and look at every single unit. Go in and answer the questions. Is this a new lease or is this an existing lease? Do you have, and we had lead paint testing done. So we have paper saying we do not have lead paint. And they're provided with that information. So that's why I have to like go in and check all these things off and prove to the state
It is compliant.
that we are compliant. So that's why you got all this.
Right. I just read through it and decided I'm not going to print that because if everything's compliant, I've got no questions on it. Yeah.
In the, so that's it. But this one you have to sign too. And once you vote,
I need a motion to accept.
I second.
No, I can't make the motion.
Oh,
I make a motion to accept the lead paint.
To accept the lead paint.
All right, I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
okay, so now you sign this one.
Okay, item 9 is the pilot payment.
I don't seem to have that one.
Hang on.
Thank you.
We have 2 payments, one for state and one for federal.
But it all gets paid in one lump. Okay? So we ended up paying the town $45,332 for this year. And that's because we don't pay taxes. We're tax exempt. So in order to help out the communities that we live in, we offset not paying taxes by paying a pilot,
Payment in lieu of taxes.
payment in lieu of taxes.
As do most colleges and universities. And
With the tax chase.
Well,
Um,
I think that I think a lot of the universities pay in like different ways, like they'll pay the library budget, or depending on how much money they have.
Take care of a park.
Yeah.
Yeah. Many
so
different,
it's all
many different ways.
negotiated,
Yeah,
so Some of
Yeah.
the richer colleges.
With the
pay
city.
less than lower colleges.
right. Right.
We're probably paying more than some. We don't know.
Yeah, I don't really know. It's kind of a crazy solution.
It is, but at least it's something.
We don't have to approve this, or we do?
No,
That's just a FYI.
you know, this is just an FYI.
So was this for 2023 or 2024?
This is for 2024.
And it's based on the 2023 receivables and, okay.
And I had printed out what we paid in the past to get an idea of
Yeah.
it. So,
So it's the 45,332 plus the 6340,
Nope.
44? No, this is the
no,
total.
this is the total amount is what I generated the check for.
Okay.
And we're actually earlier than we usually are because we were late last year. I didn't realize the town kind of like needed that money for when they went and do the budget. Until I got a word from the finance committee person.
Why is this coming up?
Yeah,
Well, I'm sure they appreciate it.
yeah. I try to hang on to the money as long as I can. But
Well, that makes sense. That's what they do too. Everyone's playing the same game.
We'll get another OML.
Yes, we did.
in this one, we're gonna be clean. We're gonna be cleaned up.
Easy.
I'm gonna submit the other ones have all been submitted for 2023. They've all gone to the town clerk's
So it's
office.
back to the meeting minutes again? Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Meeting minutes, which technically, I'm not sure any of the things he complained about was actually in violation.
Well, he complained, and we're gonna respond appropriately, and we're gonna do the minutes every month, every month, and then turn them right over to the town clerk's office so they can upload them, and he should be all set.
Well, it's the right way to do it anyway,
know.
and
I
it
know.
because it becomes such a chore if you let it go.
Oh, don't I know?
Yeah, yeah, so it's better to just get it done and, yeah, yeah.
It's
Having
just-
done meeting minutes for years and years, I understand.
And then once you get behind it, it's like, it's
Right.
overwhelming,
That's right.
especially when you have to watch yourself on TV and you realize you look fat.
That's the worst part.
Really? I'm gonna lay off the big sweaters, I'm telling you that. That's why I'm wearing this. I was like, holy crap, this isn't good.
It is awful.
Well, that wasn't his complaint. Let's be fair to the guy.
No, that was my, no, he just said I looked old in person. I'm like, well, I'm 65, how am I supposed to look?
That's the last time I talked to him.
And I'm out there in the freezer, it was cold.
That is cool.
Did you, you didn't give everybody the response. I didn't get the response on the open meeting law.
Haven't done it yet. I want to make sure that we're in compliance before I do anything else. So you approve these minutes, they're gonna go to the town clerk's office so that they can upload them.
Right,
And
but his
that's-
complaint isn't about this meeting. His
No,
meeting
all those other
was
meetings,
back from July. It was like June and July.
Well, we
They'd
were-
already been approved.
we were a hot mess for a while.
He was.
They weren't on the website.
They weren't on the website.
They weren't on the website? I think they were. At the point when he made the complaint.
Oh, they may have been by
they'd all-
then.
Well, they had all been approved.
They've all been approved,
Whether the town clerk put them up or not, I don't know.
but we're not gonna have that issue anymore. We need to get out from under this guy,
Yeah.
once and for all.
It's unbelievable.
But I guess he could not know if they were, he would know if they were approved because if you watch the meeting.
If you watch the
He would have
meetings.
seen that they were approved. But the open meeting law doesn't, I don't think, applies to the town clerk putting them up in a certain amount of time. But it's either way, it's beyond our purview.
Hey, as long as we know that they got there, and I'm gonna get a receipt from now on stating this is when they were dropped off. So tomorrow, the meeting minutes are gonna go to the town clerk's office
Sounds good.
to cover us.
Yes.
And this way, we, if the guy starts any more trouble, it's like, hey, listen, we're doing the best we can. Here we go.
He needs a life.
I think this is his life.
This is his life.
Anyway, moving on. Walsh Ave project. I put that on there because I thought maybe this guy would actually send me the drawings that he says he's making, but as far, I haven't, he called me and never sent anything. So
So-
we just,
What's the scoop?
yeah.
Is he still scooping
I haven't driven by. it.
soil out of there? And
I-
I'm telling you, we always have a tendency to look at things as problems, but I see a real opportunity there. Right now, you've got that big hill behind that property. It's trapping the noise from the highway, right? And it's also, unless that's the point, is that you want that property isolated from everything else.
Because even Sally was like, I asked her, I said, what do you think? And she says she doesn't want to look into somebody's backyard. She'd
You don't
rather
have
look
to.
at the hill.
There's fence, there's trees, there's all kinds of stuff that can mitigate that.
But he was supposed, what he told me was he was supposed to build a wall, like a retaining wall. And I think once he realized just how much wall he was going to need, I don't think he realized that the housing authority owned that property. I think he was under the impression, as was the town, that the town owned it because of Auburn Youth and Family Services being there. And then when it came time, we heard that there was a step that was missed. Because when I talked to the town planner, he was like, oh, everything should be all set. And he was going to give me the documents. I haven't seen them.
So how much property beyond the parking area does LHA own or AHA own?
I mean, there isn't enough there to build additional housing.
Okay.
And I liked the idea of the hill, even with the trees, because I don't want to create an attractive nuisance for those neighbors. Because I don't want to, we don't have any complaints down there right now. I don't want
When
them,
you say an attractive nuisance,
like the little kids from Pheasant Court,
yeah.
cutting through their yard or climbing
Again,
on their
that's what
fence.
fencing. Now, so if they build this big, huge retaining wall, then who's responsible to maintain that retaining wall?
They
Well,
are.
maybe he is.
When
The
that
problem
goes
is,
south.
this is all speculation. He's supposed to bring us plans,
Right.
Yeah.
and all we have is vapor.
We haven't
So
gotten anything.
we have nothing to discuss, nothing to vote on.
But we just
nothing
wanted
to
you to
agree
know.
No, I mean, but just, talking about it.
Yeah.
Just to
It's
talk about it.
Yeah,
Like I say, I went down there and I thought, right now you've got all that noise from the highway trapped in that area.
But Sally's, they've never complained about it. I mean, if
Oh, I
if I
know.
had complaints, then I'd say, well, you know what? Here's a golden opportunity to get rid of it. But I'm not getting complaints.
Yep. But you've got a major highway and you've got all of those cars and all of that pollution and all of that is falling on to a housing where there's a bunch of little kids and I'm just
that's not
saying
gonna
that,
really change.
well, I'm just saying that you can, at least it has somewhere to go. It's not being butted up against a hill. And like I said, I thought there was an opportunity there, rather than what do you want to look at a hill or a huge retaining wall?
I'd rather look at the hill, to be honest.
The hill isn't actually near the housing, so it's kind of.
No, it's
It's,
over
yeah,
by the,
it's across
Yeah.
from Auburn Youth.
right.
But when I asked Sally, she said she would
Prefer
rather
to
keep the hill, and she was just worried that the trees were gonna fall, so I did have somebody come out to quote us a price on removing, he was an arborist, removing the troublesome trees,
Well, why would that fall on you when they've destabilized the whole hill?
because I wanted an idea of how much it would cost, and I wanted an arborist to tell me which trees actually do need to come out, as opposed to just gutting the whole thing. Because I didn't want to give him license to just continue to do what he's done, because he's created a huge problem for the housing
So
authority
from
now.
the start, was there any representative from the housing authority at the planning board meetings?
No.
None.
I don't think they thought we owned it.
But you knew you owned it.
Yeah, but I didn't know, I mean, I
Know that
don't watch the
Somebody
planning
put
board
it in.
things. We didn't get like an abutters thing that I know of. I mean,
You didn't get an abutters notice?
we may have, I don't know. I don't know, to be honest with you.
Because it seems like, that's your opportunity to get your input at,
'Cause if-
before
Like
these
even
things
over
start to
here,
happen.
Like over here, because we have St. Joseph's landlocked pretty much, because we're on all sides of the rectory. here in the old church. They're kind of locked in. So when they decided they wanted to sell
They
the
had
old
an
church,
abutters list,
they
and you
had
got
an abu-
notification.
Yes, we did. We've gotten a lot of notifications. Anytime the water district, because they're down at the end there at
Yeah.
Pheasant Court, we always get an abutters notice. Because at that point, I would have had to bring it to the board and said, oh, by the way, they want to build some houses. And somebody from the housing authority, chances good it would have been Wayne that would have gone. I mean, he was on the zoning board of appeals for years, so at least he has some familiarity with these kind of things.
Yeah, but that wouldn't have gone to the zoning board, it would have gone to the
It would have
planning.
gone to regular planning board.
Yep. Well, until we have any other information on it, there's not much we can,
And as the weather
We can
gets
talk
better,
about-
he's gonna start calling us again, but we can't make a decision until we have the idea of what the hell went on. And how.
We're not the ones holding him up.
He's
no,
holding
no, he's
He's
holding
holding
himself up.
himself
Yeah,
up.
yeah. Yep.
He has a.
But you still, you have opportunity for negotiation with this guy when everything comes through and you see what's going on. And so I'm simply asking to keep open and to
And
opportunity,
it's gonna come to the board.
to opportunity, that's all.
It's gonna come to the
Yeah.
board, and if we wanna invite him in at some point, once he starts complying with what we've asked for, then he's gonna have to come before.
Oh, you've asked for something already?
Yes,
I
Steve.
asked them for a drawing.
Just for the drawing.
Just,
Okay.
but.
I didn't know if there was
my
anything else.
understanding is that this whole project went through without, I guess, a site plan. I'm not sure what the right technical term is. But somehow
Without a
people
site plan?
people
There's a-
didn't realize the slope of the hill, even though it's in the drawing. And there wasn't anything to plan appropriately for that.
Something fell through.
So
the
there was
cracks.
some sort of step that he skipped.
Well, that's the earth removal part of
Yeah.
any kind of a site evaluation.
Yeah.
It's like these guys up on
Yeah.
Albert Ave that, use that whole site as a quarry pit, and they made a fortune blasting that rock and bringing it down to Pine Brothers down in Sutton and selling it. And there's a ton of cubic feet of earth down there, clean fill, that he'll make a tidy little
And that's
sum
why he
on.
wants, and he
That's-
won't have to put a wall.
Well, that's
up.
another reason why he wants to take the hill down, but that doesn't mean that you don't have the opportunity to negotiate with him for something that you would like,
Right.
and that could be a 12-foot fence or whatever the town will allow.
But that's
know?
something that, once we get more information from either the town, because I had asked the town planning board, Adam,
I am surprised that he hasn't.
I haven't gotten anything.
Because he's called me at least twice. And it's like, okay, it's like, like nothing's gonna change until you show us something.
And it wasn't anything we did, this is just something that happened to us. But it's
No, but
gonna
I
have
mean,
to come before the
when you get the
board.
notification, the abutters, that's the time to be asking questions, so and you know that you have to send them out. There's no way
And
around it.
you know what, I honestly don't remember getting one, I may well have. But we would've had to go,
Yeah?
I mean,
Well,
Go
not
to
not that you have to go, but that it's a very good idea to go so that you can find out the scope of the project and then how is it going to affect you? And then if you have, any input at that point before approval by the board.
he took out
The
half
problem with the
hill.
board is they have no teeth. Once it's done, the only one who's got the teeth is the building inspector. And so you can't go back to the board and say, oh, well, they did this or they did that. The board's like, oh, well, we approved it. This is what we approved.
They've lost
So
control.
the one with teeth is the building inspector. So,
Well, if we hear anything more, if we start
Yeah,
getting
I'd like
stuff in,
to.
we'll just keep
Yeah.
it on the agenda, because it's gonna be the board's decision as to how we go forward with this, period,
yeah.
you
Okay.
know? I mean, I have never had anybody take out a hill before. And I mean, he caused a huge problem.
Yep. But like you say, he's gonna take out a hill and put in a big wall, and then, they walk away from that. Once that thing is done, and it's written off, he's off.
He's gone.
And he's gonna sell those
That's right.
houses to
And that wall
somebody.
collapses, or it starts to degrade,
All the trees are gonna fall.
and then
down.
what happens? That's why I say, when you look at the long-term planning on this, it makes more sense to take that hill right down and then find a solution that you think would work, to keep, it isolated kind of the way it is now.
Well, the town was down there, and I heard this from other sources. They said, they could put additional parking, they could put a park down here. It needs to stay the way it is.
We still need to see something, because our land is still abutting other people's land. You can't take up the middle of the hill and just leave.
And this
Right.
is the thing,
these
we got
little
this over
gates on
here
the
and this over
side.
here.
You have to.
Yeah.
You need a
Yeah,
plan. You
yeah,
can't
that's why I
just-
say you've got to have a comprehensive look at it and then make a plan that works for you going forward.
Yeah.
You've got, the ball is in the housing authority's court. It's your land. He wants to do certain things. He needs to work with you.
But
with
he's
us.
gonna need to come to the board and present whatever the
Yeah.
heck he wants to say.
Yep.
Because it's the
Do you know
board's
who that
decision.
builder is?
Ron Valentine, I think.
Yeah.
Ron Valentine? I
You know,
don't think
because
I
he's saying,
ever.
oh, the abutters are all thrilled. And I'm thinking, what abutter is thrilled to have a house built next to him? But it's not gonna happen.
He actually said that?
Yeah.
Oh, and this is gonna be great for housing.
Yeah.
Valentine, do you know, what's the company name? Is it just under him?
I think it's just.
I think it is too. But he was known by the town, so he must have done
I'm
other,
gonna say, I don't ever remember him coming before the board when I was on it.
I don't really quite understand what the play is, to be honest with you.
and why had they given us something?
But, you know, it's been winter, so maybe nothing's gonna move, who knows?
Interesting.
And that's quite the drop.
And it is, I mean, that hill is pretty big,
Sure is.
so. You can't just send a bulldozer over and say, well, make it look good. It's like, you need a
Yeah,
plan.
no, yeah.
Which I think is actually what happened. They sent a guy over with the bulldozer.
And that's the thing, he was paying them a
That's
lot
why
of
it's a
money
mess.
too.
Yeah,
You know?
I saw all the big vehicles over there.
And they just took out and not realizing what he did.
Oh,
They knew.
they know. They're not
They wanted the-
stupid. They're
the
not
dirt.
stupid, yeah.
They thought we were though.
Well,
Well, the name.
That's
who's
where they
gonna buy the house with
underestimated.
the Cliff behind him, 1 second.
well, that's the other thing. That's what I'm saying. It makes no sense to
So-
leave a huge cliff there or to put up a monstrous retaining wall.
Right.
A retaining wall will cost a fortune to
But
put
that's
there.
what I heard was the initial plan.
Yeah.
Was a retaining.
Yeah, and like you say, now we get into it and you realize that, this might not work.
So I'm gonna turn around and take out half the hill, and then they're gonna be forced to do away with the
Bing, bing.
retaining wall.
Yep.
Well, whatever he does, it's gonna come before the board, and he's gonna have to do some explaining. That's all we can do. Does that sound like a plan?
Sounds like a plan.
Moving on, policies for the website. So that was the discussion we had a long time ago. About putting some of this stuff on the website and deciding what goes to, what should or should not be on the website, I guess is the real question. But as I was flipping through this, I was thinking maybe we need to number these or do some sort of categorization, because we can't, like, if this is, it's almost impossible to find anything about
Well, they were,
flipping through each side.
but see, they were in alphabetical order,
Yeah, I know, but
and that was
But
just.
there's no index, they're
There's
not
no, like,
numbered,
there's no
there's no
table.
way
There
to
is an
table of
index.
contents, well,
There is a table of contents.
There is?
Those, but yeah, you didn't get it, but there is one.
oh, okay. Well, anyway,
You didn't get that though, because I figured you were going to review all these policies anyway, so there's no point numbering them because it's going to change.
Well, the
That was my-
policies can change, but we can make the number part of the,
What, do you want a thing with numbers? I can give you numbers. I can give you a table of contents. I have all
all
that.
right, well, that's good. 'cause
But I mean,
think-
in the
I
meantime,
mean, just for us to discuss it, I think it would be
easier?
easier. Because there's just no way to, I mean. you know,
Well,
some
and
cases
again,
it's
to
not-
your point about not all of it needs to be on there, but the
No.
things that are specific to the residents
Should all-
Or
should all be
applicants.
on there.
Right.
Right.
Anything, they need to
Other
know we're
than
not
that,
smoking.
yeah, but other than that,
It's
anything that
not,
pertains to them, and, that's right, yeah, yeah.
so there aren't gonna be like all of them, but I mean, they need to know that we don't have smoking and, you know, what our laundry room situation is and,
Right, so any policy that pertains to them and the laws and rules that they have to live by should be on the website.
and they have it because they do get the policies and procedures, they get a tenant handbook.
But by
And-
having it on the website, you are, you know, whether they say they didn't get it or not,
It's there.
it's
They have access.
it's there and they have
And it's also
access.
good for people to see it before they sign.
That's right.
Which is,
Because, and it's also helpful for families to be able to help parents and aunts and uncles and navigate and know what the rules are too. Because they
So
can go to the
the
website.
family members would
family
be more
members.
literate maybe than more with it.
Well, in some situations, yeah, some cases.
But a lot of elderly are better than I am.
Not saying they all are or they all aren't. I'm saying in some situations, it's easier for the family to help navigate if the information is available online.
we're just gonna do our half. We can't do everything. But we can do our half is communicating.
Right.
But anyway, if you have a table of contents, maybe we should get that and then we can work from that, right? Because it's almost impossible to work from this, right? Unless we make our own list, so it'd be easy to
No, I
have a
have.
list
I
and then
have.
check off website, yes, website, no. whatever.
Yeah.
We have that.
Because you could very simply scan it all in
Right.
and then add comments in a group. We could do it that way, right? With a Google Doc.
Mhm.
And then we could all make comments. And then everybody would know, you know, what everybody's thinking. Or is that beyond? It's beyond.
It might be.
Well,
transferred.
you and I could do it to help, you know, begin the process.
Right. I think the first thing to do is just get a list.
We'll get
Because
the
just
list.
with the list.
Yeah,
we're gonna be
and
able
just
to eliminate
stick with
what
the
we-
residents.
Right away, what we don't want to have on the website. Because the quality, the contents of the policies are not really yet what we're discussing. We're just discussing
And we
what should
can't,
be
we can't be
visible.
changing just to have change. We gotta take a serious look at, does the policy work? Then okay, we keep it. But we can't just change to change.
No, but the
We make,
first,
you have to make reasonable changes.
but we're not suggesting that. We're suggesting narrowing down what we feel should be the appropriate things to go online.
Right.
And then the next, likely step would be to then look at those policies on an
You have to
individual
look at-
basis.
See, this is the
And make
thing.
sure that what's going there is correct and up to date.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's not, then we'll have to review it here and.
All the policies have to be
Approve it.
reviewed.
Yeah,
How often are we supposed to review the policy?
Well, we started, before you two, we did start going through the policies in
when was that?
March.
I mean, a lot of them are pretty recent. A
Right.
lot of them are signed. So
They
I'm
were-
not really worried, I'm not.
Right.
I really have little concern about rewriting policies
Yeah.
at this point.
But-
I'm just more interested in communicating the policies.
On some of the policies, we have to submit the policies for the auditors. They request certain policies from us. Those we have to make sure are current.
Okay.
You know, there's just maybe 5 of them, like rent collection, procurement, those kind of things, that they want to see, well, You didn't look at this for 15 years. What the,
Right.
you know, why?
But is rent collection something that's particular to the residents? No.
Yeah,
That's-
because it spells out when they have to pay their rent.
Okay, but you said for the auditors.
But
I
the
was
auditors
thinking-
are looking to see that it's current.
Right, so anything that's particular to the resident are the first ones we want to take a look at.
Okay?
And see if those are the ones that we want to put on the, right?
Right.
Yep.
So I'm
And
going
if
to do
you,
it.
if they're all pretty recent, then that's going to be
Makes it easy.
should be a breeze.
Yeah. Like the Google thing. What the heck was she talking about?
The Google Docs. It's a place where you can put all of the documents in one spot, and then everybody has an opportunity to look at the document, and you can make comments and say what you'd like to stay and go. And it's a great way for a group to work together on a same project, and everybody has input.
And everybody can see everybody's comment.
Yes.
Imagine that.
And, yeah, I think, you know, that's a,
Yeah.
just, I don't know how the open meeting law handles that. So I would be reluctant to do that. Unless it's, you know, a couple of people working. It's like
Well, if we set up a committee, a subcommittee,
Subcommittee.
then we, yeah.
we could-
Oh, well, we
Yeah.
know who's going to be on it.
yeah,
Well,
I'm guessing.
Yeah, in all my spare time, yep.
So.
We have an assistant over
First-
here.
Yeah.
First things first.
Yep.
Let's just we get the table of
We'll
contents.
get the table of contents,
good
the
idea.
page
Get
numbers.
rid of half of it right away.
Right away, right,
And then-
narrow it
and then-
down, yeah, whittle it
We
down.
may not really need to do anything beyond, say, to the web guy, put up these 15 things, call it a day.
And that would be good. That would be progress.
Yep. Transparency,
Yeah.
helping to, people to see that we're, trying
Educate
to
our
be as,
tenants.
that's right, trying to be as open and transparent as possible, and that's important.
Okay, next item, member items. Anybody have anything?
Yeah, I'd like to bring something up. I had sent you an item that I wanted to see on the agenda. And it's my understanding from you that you and Laurie had a conversation about it and decided not to put my item on the agenda, but,
No, that was not Katrina. That was because I've discussed the topic with her previously.
okay.
It wasn't.
But we had never discussed it here, so that is, it's not something that you're able to do to say, no, I'm sorry, I'm not putting that on the agenda. That's not how it works.
The agenda was already done when I asked you that question.
Well, then why did you ask me the question? Even though my text messages to you show that I had sent that to you several
See, you
weeks
have to
before,
stay within your wheelhouse.
several weeks before I had asked.
Operational things.
I think it was right after the last meeting, yeah. I had asked you to put that on as an item on the agenda, but anyways, I'm gonna pass out some paperwork and we can have a discussion about it the next time. But my point was the hours of operation, and I used your logic, Lori, and Maureen, when it came time to stop videotaping the meetings, and you canvassed all of the surrounding housing authorities to find out who had been videotaping their meetings. And so I used that same logic, I applied it to this, and I'm drilling down into it further to take a look at how many units they have, how many office staff, all of those things. But my personal feeling is 16 hours a week for residents to have access to staff is like a bare minimum. When your work week is 37 and a half hours a week. You're only open to the public 4 days a week, 9 to 1 for 16 hours, correct?
We're actually here on Fridays, and we do answer the door on Fridays.
Okay, but the
So
website
it's-
says that you're closed on
Right,
Fridays.
which
So
is true.
what that does is that, keeps everybody thinking, okay, they're closed on Friday, I can't reach out to them on Friday. even
do
though
answer-
you will
yeah.
answer the door.
And we do answer the
But
phone.
they're saying, oh, okay, I looked at it and, oh, they're closed on Friday.
The sign outside, I'm guessing it's been there for a while.
Yeah.
With the hours on it.
Yeah. So I just feel like, the housing authority here is here to serve the residents. And by limiting them to 16 hours a week to be able to, have interaction, I just don't see it as being optimal for residents. So that's why I was bringing that up. So if, again, I simply put this out here, we can put it as an agenda item on the next agenda so that we can have a detailed discussion about it, because I'd like to learn more about how many hours a week you're here, what are your hours Monday through Friday. We're not going to discuss it right now because it wasn't on the agenda, right?
And it's, you're not
We
gonna,
just can't vote on something.
Okay.
We can discuss it.
and as far as the operation
So I'm
of
not
the
worried
housing
about that.
authority, you're not to be involved in the day-to-day operation of the housing authority. Your finance and policies. So if this affects a policy that we put out, then that it's something that we're gonna look at.
So then let me ask this, how was it ever decided that Monday through Thursday, 9 to 1, were going to be the hours of operation when your contract clearly states
This
37
is
and a
the
half?
office hours. That doesn't mean I'm not here.
Well, this is what I'm trying to get to. So that's why I say, let's have a discussion about that.
I don't think I think if you went to most of these, I think it's interesting you want to do a survey. I think the survey you need to ask is, how many full-time employees are there?
Well, and you can find that information just by going on to their plans and finding their plans,
So
which is what I
we know
did.
how many full-time employees are here, and they're not any, but none of, except for Laurie, none of them are customer facing.
So are they
We
all,
only have part-time staff in the office.
right, well, this is what I'm trying to
So you're
find
gonna
out.
have part-time
Yeah.
office hours. We're just out of the gate.
Well, but when you look at the other towns, why are their hours of operation 9 to 4 or 8:30 to 4 or
Because
8:30
they've
to
got
3:30?
full-time staff.
Their staff
and they've got a
is
bigger
different.
budget.
Executive director,
So
full-time
the bigger
typically.
question, I mean, I don't mind the question, but I think the bigger question is, why don't we have a bigger budget from the state to have better and more
Well,
staff?
are there ways, all of your positions are full, and all of them are part-time besides you? That's a true statement?
Albany is 30 hours, so she's part-time benefit eligible.
Mm-hmm.
And I technically still have an 18-hour position open. So
Could we be doing this differently and making it more open for residents to have opportunity? A lot of people get up and they don't feel good in the morning. You're open 9 to 1, they don't get going till the afternoon. What if they
But
need to
we're
be here in
here.
the afternoon?
we're here early.
But that doesn't preclude them from contacting the office. with
No, but I mean, if they had to come up, or, I just find this kind of stunning that it's, advertised as 16 hours a week for people who live in the housing authority to have access to the office. Like I said, I went through all of the plans right on the state's website just to get this information. And like I said, I've started to drill down. I have other things that I haven't, didn't put on there. But if you've got an 18-hour a week position that's unfilled, could that be, so that somebody's here until, say, 3 o'clock, 4 days a week, and maybe 3 hours on Friday, so that, and that shows that the hours change and people have more access to. Because like I said, when I look at this and I see 9 to 1, and I go on the website and I see 9 to 1, I say, well, okay, I don't have any access after 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and definitely not on
Well, they're
Friday.
always on call.
There's people on call.
Because
I understand, I understand that, but as a person who's looking, say, oh, yep, I got to drop off some paperwork for my mother. Oh, they're only open 9 to 1.
They
I
put
work
it in the
until
mailbox.
I work until 3. Oh, we've got a quick answer for everything.
No, but they do. They put it in the mailbox. I understand
You're,
what you're
you're
saying.
trying to dismiss my point.
I'm not trying to
And I'm
dismiss your
saying that when you look at what everybody else is doing, and yes, some of them are closed on Fridays, some of them are closed in the afternoon, some of them are open in the morning. I think there needs to be more access, whether it's just changing the hours on the website and filling that 18-hour-a-week position. And if, we've talked again and again about how swamped you are, why isn't that position filled?
Because who are you going to fill it with? What are we actually going to fill it with?
That's up to you as the executive
And who
director to
are we gonna get?
figure that out, put an ad, figure out what the tasks for that person will be. I mean, that's your job, right? You've done that with the other staff in your office. Why is this a question when there's an 18, how long has that 18-hour position gone unfilled?
Couple years.
We did discuss, the operations manuals to make it easy to train people and stuff like that.
But all I hear again and again and again, especially Steve and I have talked, I hear again and again and again how swamped you are and how there's so much to do, and I understand that there's a lot of moving parts here. And when you're working with people, that's a lot too. But when you have an 18-hour-a-week position that hasn't been filled for 2 years, that makes no sense.
Well, part of it was COVID too. The position was in there, but
Okay, but COVID's over.
yep, it was over in May,
Yep.
last May.
I'm not sure these two items are related, to be honest with you. I mean, if you picked up an 18-hour-a-week person, there are certain things that you would probably get through quicker or easier, or they could delegate more. But I'm not sure you
Delegate
would
more.
necessarily change your hours of operations that quickly, just because of the way you're already operating. Like adding hours, you're assuming that there's a demand from the tenants that.
That's not what I'm assuming. I'm
Well,
not
that's why
assuming,
you would change.
I'm
it.
not
You change it to
assuming a
give them
demand.
more-
I'm
to give
saying
them more
that it
hours.
gives them opportunity. And that's the job here as the housing authority, is to make sure transparency, that residents have access, that, you're not limiting them, 9 to 1, Monday through Thursday, and Fridays off, even if they can make a phone call. It just,
I mean, you can always add and by appointment to whatever.
People are on call, and I'm sure.
and by appointment, yeah. Maintenance is on call on the weekends.
So
Yeah.
am I.
Yeah.
I was here yesterday. It was a holiday.
Like I said, I just don't understand how it
No, I-
is allowed to get to a 9 to 1 Monday through Thursday. It's,
I mean, the logical thing, and the window that would logically be too tight for is actually for new tenants, because everybody else is already here. But the fact that we're full would sort of imply that people are working around it anyway.
well, because they have to,
Right.
but people are missing, maybe they're missing work, or they're, having to use their paid time off or whatever to do the business.
But it's still a middle, I mean, if you've got an elderly person you need to house, you're gonna.
Well, I mean, we can argue it again and again and again forever, but
Anecdotal speculation.
yeah, it just, it's shocking when you look at what everybody else is doing. But like I said, I've only just begun to dig down into it, but I'll come back the next time for further discussion with more information on how many units are under, how many full-time, how many part-time, and what their hours of operation are. Like I said, I started to
And
drill
if
down
they're
into
state
it, but I
and
didn't
federal,
get it.
or just state,
Yep, all
I
of
mean,
it.
I've actually
All
looked
of
at
it.
some of this stuff on my own, separate from, from a long time ago. And because my sister-in-law used to work in a housing authority, and they do have a full-time staff, and they have way more hours and huge. The budget was like at least triple.
Yeah, but what was the town population? What was the number of units under?
Right.
All of
But I
those
mean,
things figure into that.
But this is, I mean, I was amazed, I mean, like that article I sent you on Worcester, right? Like,
Yeah.
you could only do that, that stuff could only happen if there was a lot of people in the system.
Yeah, and when you had Ray Mariano running it, though, you didn't have those problems that they're having now, right?
Right.
So it is the trickle down. If you don't have the leadership, then, you know, there's a trickle down.
But the thing is, you know, you fill up the budget, you don't necessarily increase the quality, right? Because that's
Well,
basically what's happening
But,
there.
you know, leaving an
There's
18,
way
like I said,
more
again,
than-
there's a lot of things this person could be helping you get
Oh, yeah.
through faster, be, maybe, you know, organize or whatever it is. To let that position stay unfilled and yet, you know, be overwhelmed by the workload is, from my perspective, doesn't make a lot of sense.
Well, that's why I thought the logical thing to do is get an operations manual so you can bring people in. They know what they're gonna jump into, get them trained up to speed and move forward. This is after you've done all that stuff. Like, that's what this is, when you've got a bigger team.
But
we
Steve-
finally figure out how to get money from the state, then you can expand the hours. That would, like, this is when you're more successful. Here, we're still running on part-time office staff.
And they wanted, the accountant that we had prior to Gary suggested that we went with part-time office staff because we were paying huge money out in benefits that we couldn't
Well,
afford.
of course, that's what everybody's doing to save money, and that's, you know, that's a given today. But when this position now has gone unfilled for 2 years without any work being done on an operating manual or trying to figure out what that scope of that job is, 24 months. And during COVID, perfect time, right? Okay, like I said, I'll do some more work on that, and, but again, are you working on the employee manual or the operating manual? Is that gonna be your,
Well, that wouldn't be my job.
yeah,
I mean, I thought we should, and going back to taking care of the town first, my first item was the website and getting the policies, so people know what the rules are. And
but
so
of course, Laurie says that the people know what the rules are, because they get it when they move in, so
Or
wouldn't it
they
make
get it
more
when they
sense?
research.
Would it, or during the research,
Yeah.
right, which happens every year. So would it make more sense to get on this staffing? Yeah. Right. Yep. It's just my 2 cents. It's no way to run a business, and this is a business.
I don't have anything else to add. I don't know if anybody else does. I guess we need an option to adjourn.
Now, public comment?
Oh, yeah.
Public
Go
comment?
ahead. Frank,
Yes,
you're up.
Good, Frankie.
I've been coming to the last 7 meetings, right? And I don't know these two ladies' names and their job title yet. This one here in the green sweatshirt and this one here.
I'm Sharon.
Sharon, and it's Frankie, and this one here.
I'm Wendy.
And what are you, attorney?
No, I'm a small business owner.
Okay, and what's the job title there?
I'm just a board member.
Oh, okay. All right, that's it.
Motion to adjourn?
I said,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.